Hi, today we're going to talk about powers of monomials, and this topic relates to what we did yesterday. First of all, let's review the word monomial. Monomial is either going to be a number, a variable, or a product of numbers and variables. And the example I gave yesterday was a monomial could be the number 2, or it could be the number x, or the variable x, or it could be a product of 2 and x, which is 2x. So we're studying these single terms, mono meaning one, and today we're going to learn what do we do when we have one that's raised to a power and then raised to another power. So this is when taking a power of a power, the rule is to multiply the powers together. Now I want you to understand that what we're learning is shortcuts with exponents. And so these rules are supposed to make it easier for you. They're shortcuts for working with the math. And instead of making it more work, it's supposed to make it less work. So what we're doing is we're learning shortcuts when working with exponents. So let's go ahead and post this up here. And we have, when taking a power of a power, multiply the powers together. So let's practice that. So let's say we have x to the third power. Now a power of a power means that I'm going to take this and raise it to another power. So to the fourth power. So the rule says multiply the powers together. So 3 times 4 is 12. X is equal to 12. Now, we could write out 4 factors of x to the third. You could go ahead and do that. And you could use the rule that we learned yesterday, which was to add the exponents together when you're multiplying. So 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 more is 12. So it works with the rule that we learned yesterday, but the shortcut is when you see a power raised to another power, you're going to multiply them together. And I've even seen them take this and raise it to another power. So let's say we had another set of grouping symbols, brackets here, and you put a 2. So now we're raised to 3 powers, to the third, to the fourth, and to the second. So it still works the same way. X is the base. It stays the same. You're going to take 3 times 4 times 2. And so the final answer here is x to the 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. X to the 24th. All right. So that's the first rule. When taking a power of a power, multiply the powers together. Now the second rule that we're going to work on today is a little more work, and it's what you do when you have a monomial with more than one term. In that example, we just had an x as the base, but a lot of times your monomial does have multiple bases. So to find the power of a product, find the power of each factor and multiply. So let's say we have 2x to the third, y to the second, and everything is to the third power. Well, what this rule is telling us is that every factor that's in here, 2 is being multiplied by x to the third times y squared, every factor in here has to be taken to the third power. So it means 2 to the third, x to the third, and y squared to the third. Okay, so 2 to the third. I'll write the answer here in orange. 2 to the third is 8. 3 times 3, you use power of a power, multiply the powers together. 3 times 3 is 9. And 2 times 3 is 6. So your final answer here is 8, x to the 9th, y to the 6th. So every factor that's a part of this monomial, it's still one term here. There's not any addition, there's not any subtraction, so we know this is all one term, is taken to that third power. All right, let's try another one. Let's say we have negative 3 x y to the fourth. And we're going to take this all to the second power. Okay, you see powers of power, so you know you need to use a power rule. So find the power of each factor. So -3 is a factor. Put it in parentheses so that you remember the 3 is negative. Sometimes it's just helpful to write every factor in parentheses. It separates them. It helps you to see that you're going to square each factor. So you have -3 squared. Well, -3 times -3, that's a +9. Here, I'll write it in orange again. Okay, and then x squared. Well, if there's not an exponent, we've learned that it's a 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, and then 4 times 2 is going to give you 8. So your answer here is 9x squared y to the 8th. Now, I've seen problems where they'll have you do this twice and then multiply the answers together. So I want to change this example a little bit and say, what if they had then another factor, a monomial, being multiplied by this? And so this is the answer to this problem, but if we change the problem and put times, let's say 4x to the 3rd cubed, okay, then you're going to take 4 and you're going to multiply it together 3 times. So then you're going to have 4 to the 3rd and x cubed to the 3rd. So 4 to the 3rd, so then we put this in parentheses, we're going to multiply 4 to the 3rd would be 64, and then x to the 3rd would be x to the 9th. Now if this is the case, we're going to multiply 64 and 9 together. So let's do that over here to the side. 64 times 9. So 4 times 9 is 36. 54 plus 3 is 57. So 576, 9 times 64, multiply the coefficients together like we did yesterday, and add the exponents with multiplying like bases. So 9, 10, 11. So x to the 11th, y to the 8th. So this puts the two rules together that we learned yesterday and the rule that we learned today. All right, this should get you off to a good start. Take a good look at the examples that are on the slideshow, study them, figure out where the numbers are coming from using these two rules, and practice your shortcuts. There's a self-check quiz at the end of the slide presentation, so please take the quiz. Thank you.